Hi, I've had several questions about the competencies. And so I thought what I would do is just do a quick 10-minute or less video about the competencies presented by the National Child Welfare Workforce Institute, the NCWWI competencies, and also demonstrate how easy it is to do a video using Zoom technology. And so that's what I'm doing. If you haven't downloaded Zoom, I'll send you directions on how to do it. Very easy and free. The nice thing about Zoom is I can share the screen. So I'm going to do that now. Share this screen. Hit desktop. I have the National Child Welfare Workforce Institute PDF up now. It's available in the course documentation, and I've sent you the link too. So this is where you're going to find the many competencies. I'm just going to go through the pages very quickly. Here in the table of contents, you'll see that all the competencies, the 5 domains and the competencies associated with each are listed. So leading change, creativity and innovation, external awareness, etc. And then there's an introductory piece that I would love for you to read. If you're big into models, there's the leadership model. I find it a little complex, but if you look at it a long time, it begins to make some sense. The leadership pillars are described, and this gives a framework for the competencies. And then the competencies are defined, and they are explained under each domain. So the first domain is leading change, and one of the competencies under that is creativity and innovation. So the way you would do this is you would select one of these many competencies and that you think really you developed, you enhanced, or you developed in your project. So for example, if you worked with, or you interviewed, or you shadowed somebody who really knows how to develop new insights into situations, questions conventional approaches, encourages new ideas and innovations, designs and implements new or cutting-edge programs or processes, well, this is the competency that you got to develop in your learning project. Creativity and innovation. Another one is external awareness. So if you happen to work on a project that help you understand and keep up to date on local and national policies and trends that affect the child welfare organization that you were working with, or shape stakeholders' views, that shape the views of ourselves, birth families, foster care workers, adoption workers, management, lawyers, legislators, for example. If your project helped you with your external awareness, this would be a competency you developed. Maybe your project helped you develop flexibility, that you learned new information and you were open to that, and you worked with someone or interviewed someone who's open to change and new information, rapidly adapts to new information, changing conditions or unexpected obstacles. Then, that's a competency that you worked on in this learning project. Flexibility, strategic thinking, formulating objectives and priorities, and implementing plans consistent with long-term interests of the organization. Yeah. So if you had the opportunity to work with someone who really knows how to think strategically and impacted you favorably, well, this might be a competency you could say, yeah, I really enhanced my strategic thinking by doing this learning project. Vision is another one, just taking a long-term view. The second domain is leading in context. And so, again, there are a number of competencies. Look through the PDF to find the ones that make sense to you, if any of these do. The first one under this particular area is partnering. So maybe you worked with someone or interviewed somebody who really knows how to develop networks and build alliances. Or maybe you did a research topic where you learn about people who develop networks and build alliances that can collaborate across boundaries to build strategic relationships and achieve common goals. If you think your partnering skills are better because of your learning project, then this would be a competency that you could describe. Or maybe political savvy. Maybe you've really learned a lot about the internal and external politics that impact the work of organizations. Then you developed your political savvy, which is another competency. Or maybe you got to see somebody who really knows how to influence and negotiate. The third domain is leading people. If you worked with a supervisor or a manager, maybe you got to see somebody really do good work in conflict management. A real good leader in child welfare will encourage creative tension and differences of opinion. I did that all the time. In the 25 years I was leading groups around the country, I started off every session saying, I really hope that there will be some strong differences of opinion, because that's where good work comes. We get creative. So we want to encourage that and prevent counterproductive confrontations that are real negative and don't move us anywhere. So maybe you had the opportunity to see conflict management in action. Be great if that could be one of the competencies you developed during your learning project. Or how about developing others? Or team building, very important in child welfare. Or cultural responsiveness. Maybe you got to work with someone who was especially skilled in respecting and relating well to people from varied backgrounds. Leveraging diversity so that you really use the diversity of your group or the organization to make a difference. Domain 4 is leading for results. If you worked with a manager or an executive, you interviewed someone at that level, you might have seen examples of accountability, capacity building, service orientation, decisiveness, entrepreneurship, financial management, planning and organizing, problem solving, and technical credibility. So look through that. If you actually work with someone at that higher level in a child welfare organization. The fifth domain is fundamental competencies, and these are competencies that are so important for all of us. For example, continuous learning, assessing and recognizing own strengths and weaknesses, pursuing self-development. Maybe you got to interview people in an organization where this is very important. We started this in this class with you. When you do your unit weekly self-assessments, you are beginning your continuous learning and professional development and growth. And you all have done a beautiful job in this class with your self-assessments. Effective communication. Were you able to enhance or develop your own effective communication in your learning project? Then this is a competency for you. Or were you given the opportunity to take initiative or observe somebody or interview somebody who really knows how to take initiative, set high standards for performance? This might be the competency for you. Interpersonal relations, treating others with courtesy, sensitivity, and respect. What did you learn about that? This could be your competency. Integrity and honesty. Perhaps you interviewed someone who really helped you understand the importance of that in child welfare. Resilience, dealing effectively with pressure and remaining optimistic and persistent. Maybe you learned something about how to achieve resilience as a competency. That would be great. Personal leadership, having a sense of presence and self-assurance. Perhaps the person you interviewed really helped you develop your own awareness and skills in personal leadership or social responsibility. So I'm going to stop share now. So those are, in a nutshell, the competencies. So you need to select 5 that you think were most developed in your learning project and explain them both in writing. You're going to need to write in third person so you can explain how the student really developed 5 competencies, and then explain each one of those, and then explain it in your little 10-minute video too. In your video, you're going to talk about what your project was, what you learned, what competencies you developed personally, and how that's going to impact you as a social worker in the future. Have fun with your videos. Let me know if you have any questions, and I really look forward to seeing your videos and reading about your projects.